Well, what's going on, everybody? So this is going to be a new thing that I do every now and again, where I basically jump on a scav raid and kind of talk to you guys a little bit about Tarkov, the channel, all sorts of stuff like that. So I'm sure some of you guys have already noticed that some of the Tarkov uploads have slowed down a little bit. There hasn't been a Civilian Tarkov account episode out for a little while as well. And I just want to go out there and say, from the live stream perspective, we definitely completed the Civilian Tarkov challenge for the most part. We got into the high level 30s, we unlocked level 3, level 4 dealers, and I was basically building DMR and sniper loadouts and running like MP153 shotguns with Magnum Buck. And it kind of got to the point where I'm like, okay, like what am I really doing here? Like, we should probably just go back to my main account or check out some other stuff, which ultimately led me back to checking out some DayZ, some DayZ Livonia, some Chinaris, and Smoke's Day 1 server. And in the next couple of days, there's actually going to be a really cool collaboration between Smoke and I on my channel here with DayZ Livonia, and it was completely unplanned. Like, we didn't expect to run into each other. It just happened, and it turned out to be an amazing survival story. So I highly recommend that you guys consider checking out some of those DayZ videos, because even if you're not a DayZ fan, I still think the people that we run into and the situations that we get ourselves into are actually fucking either hilarious or super intense. It's less about the combat, it's less about the PvP, and more about the like light role play. It's not, I wouldn't even consider it role play. Just fucking around with some friends or some new acquaintances and getting into weird, wacky scenarios. So that's kind of what I've been up to these last couple weeks from Tarkov. Now, I've been back on the main account, played a couple raids with my man Mark today that went reasonably well. But on my main account, you know how it is. It's like I'm just kind of in the making money mode. I have everything maxed out for the most part. Now, I haven't done like everything that I could possibly do on my main. Like, I could go out there and actually, you know what I haven't done? I haven't actually got every single like 50 graphics cards for the Bitcoin farm. Like, I could spend some time like collecting those from a PvE perspective. I could max out my endurance soft skill, because that's almost at level 51. Something I could focus on a little bit more, and all the other soft skills, which is something that in the past I've been known for, but I've sort of kind of put that down for now. You know, focus a little bit more on specific weapon builds, like guns that you guys would want to see, or mod sets, like either best in slot or cool looking weapons, and seeing how they stack up in the metagame. So there are some things in Tarkov that I am definitely like willing to explore, and I'm not like completely done at the game until the next wipe. So don't get me wrong, guys, that's kind of why I'm making this video. I'm sure some of you guys have been like, where the fuck has been the Tarkov content there, Doodles? I see you playing this weird struggling game, DayZ, and all sorts of other stuff. That's another thing. This is kind of like almost like a YouTube channel update at this point. My editing guys, the dudes that put together the Dark Souls 3, some of the Dark Souls videos, the struggling videos and whatnot, those guys, unfortunately, you know what, like, I think they made some really great videos, and I'm happy that Todd and his team worked on the channel. But I think I'm going to be moving back to editing my own videos and piecing things together. It was a cool experiment, and I think the Dark Souls playthrough was hilarious, especially on Twitch and YouTube, and they did a fantastic job. I did tell Todd, though, in the future that if there's ever like a variety game that I want to get done, we're just going to do it as like, hey, produce like 6 episodes of this playthrough, edit them together, and I'll pay you for that one-off project. And they're pretty cool with that. So thank you guys for watching all that like weird, wacky variety content as well. That's a little bit different from my normal Tarkov stuff. I do plan on trying to narrowing my focus a little bit back towards the survival shooter genre, and just kind of sticking to what I know a little bit more, and you know, not just playing Tarkov or DayZ, maybe exploring more options in the survival shooter genre specifically, like maybe going back and taking a day checking out Scum, or I probably won't be going back to play Miscreated. It's just the last time I played it, I kind of vowed that I was like, okay, I'm kind of done giving this game chances. Some people really like Miscreated. I just personally could never get into it. And also, obviously, if you guys have any suggestions, you can leave them in the comment section below. I'm kind of like an open book right now when it comes to games to play. Now that we're waiting for the next Escape for Tarkov wipe or content update, it's the perfect time to be exploring other things. This happens every single time in Tarkov. You know, every 3 to 5 months, somewhere in there's like a mass exodus of players, because we're all waiting for what's next. And that really sort of that really kind of shines on some of Tarkov's problems with like longevity, loot diversity, loot economy, the availability of extremely valuable loot, and obviously one of the biggest topics of discussion over the last couple weeks has been the flea market and whether or not the game would be better off with or without the flea market. And you know, people have a variety of different like opinions on that. I typically land somewhere in the middle, but I'm more of a fan of the removal of the market than keeping it, and only because of the amount of problems it's introduced to the game rather than solve. And I do still remember what Tarkov was like without the flea, and I do miss some of that excitement whenever you found like a fort armor on a scavenger, or you found a really cool modified weapon that was just in the world, or a scavenger that had amazing loot. It meant a little bit more, and the excitement value, like to killing a geared player or finding that stuff, was a little bit greater than the game now, where you know everything is pretty much available to you as long as you have the money, and it turns into a bit more of like a money farm rather than just a loot collection. So again, you know, I don't have the answers though. That's the thing. Like I can sit here and talk about like pros and cons on the flea market and stuff like that, but I promise you guys, I do not have the answer. I've sat down and thought about this a lot. Like there is very much pros and cons to that situation. Like one of the pros being it connects us all together. Like it makes it feel more like an MMO experience rather than just like a survival, like a single player sort of, or if you play with a squad, like a single player or potentially squad like looter shooter, right? And then like the loot collection is ultimately up to you. But I will say that it does, I do think that there's more interesting things the developers could do if the flea market wasn't available. But yeah, I mean, ultimately there's just so many different opinions and so many different takes on the subject that it can be kind of overwhelming and also exhausting to go through each and every one. You know, obviously I'm interested in reading your guys' comments on that, but just my cliff notes, not to spend the entire video talking about the flea, is I sit in a little bit of the middle. I see both sides of the coin, but I do think the game is better off potentially without it. I mean, I would love to see an experiment though. I'd love to see them maybe consider removing it for a few weeks just to see how the economy flows. But the problem with just removing the flea market is it doesn't necessarily solve the problems. Like you would have to have like a fundamental shift on the loot economy in each and every raid, the dealer availabilities, the availability of like class 5, 6 body armors and armor piercing rounds and all sorts of stuff. So just removing the flea market is not really the answer to all the problems, because you're still going to have people who are the haves and the have-nots. And even if the flea market wasn't in the game, you still have people that have the greatest gear going up against people with the shittiest of gears. And I don't think Tarkov is ever going to be in a situation where that isn't the case. I think that's definitely built into the game's core now, especially with this Chad versus Rad situation, or Chad versus Rat versus Chad situation. And I think you're always going to have people that are trying to find the best budget way to play Tarkov, and you're gonna have people that will only want to play using their best available loadouts. I mean, that just makes complete sense. And also, you can't like eliminate the fact that like modifying and building cool ass fucking guns, I mean, that's kind of what Tarkov is all about, right? But it would be way more exciting if you kill a guy that has like a best in slot M4 and it actually was like, holy shit, this guy's got a suppressor, this guy's got a sweet optic, like I could use this. I could strip this gun and use some of these attachments on some of my other loadouts. Yeah, that kind of all goes to the wayside a little bit. Because of the flea. Like, essentially what happens, I know I do this all the time, like I'll kill a guy and then just pretty much sell the entire gun to mechanic. And then just have the money. And then just have this fat cash stack. So where Tarkov has the potential to be like more like, hey, let's like collect and hold on to this equipment because it's useful, and it's more useful than just cash stack. So ultimately, that is kind of where I stand with the game right now. I mean, trying to do different challenge accounts and make things pretty interesting, even though my main account is essentially maxed out. And I also tried a new challenge account recently where it was kind of like hardcore, but instead you had access to your container, but you weren't able to barter. Like, you couldn't do anything with the dealers at all, but you could collect and do scav raids and stuff. So it was like very similar difficulty to hardcore, but with a couple couple rules that have been changed and simplified. But ultimately, my heart wasn't in the place. I'm saying ultimately is the word of the video. My heart wasn't in doing a brand new challenge. You know, I think I'm all challenged out. And for the next little while, I'll probably just stay on my main account, experimenting with different guns, possibly making some guides, or just, you know, having a good time, playing out the raids, trying to get immersed, checking out other games. We got a guy down there, left to right, moving around the shore. Probably a player scav or a low gear PMC for my guess, just because it's unsuppressed weapon. Sounds like a scav gun. There he is right there. Or there's a guy moving into those bushes. There's always a risk. I do have a painkiller we could pre-med, but I don't think I'm going to pre-med. I don't know where my extraction is. Probably should know that. That really dictates whether or not a pre-med makes sense or not. That's okay. Oh, and I fucking got crushed. Oh, man. Oh, and that's Tarkov, boys. Couldn't get the kill on the Scav raid. Yo, GG there, Nitro 87. But I think that's a good enough time. I think that kind of wraps up the whole purpose of the video. I just kind of wanted to give you guys a bit of an update on what's going on with me on Twitch, on YouTube, Tarkov, some of the things that I've been doing. And then also I want to mention, guys, that the video uploads have slowed down significantly because I have a brand new puppy. You can check him out on Instagram if you want. He's got his own Instagram account too, but a lot of my time that I used to spend like editing videos and stuff like that is currently being tied up by like this brand new puppy, and he's getting a lot better, but it will take me some time to get back into like a crazy like upload schedule. So anyways, guys, that's the end of this scav walk, or whatever I'm going to call it. If you want to see more about these, like every now and again, to kind of give you guys more of an update, because I miss you guys on YouTube, you know? Like I spend so much time talking during my live streams that I really don't get a chance to speak to my YouTube audience one-on-one. And you guys have been like the backbone of this community since day one. Like, you know, I've been making YouTube videos and stuff like that much longer than I've been doing live streams, but I always feel like I'm at war trying to get stuff out for you guys, and I feel like I'm always just behind. So my apologies on that, guys. I'm hoping I can figure this out at some point. Getting editors and stuff like that, it wasn't really the answer. I think just being more disciplined and recognizing whenever there's cool things that happen on the stream, and you know, sometimes I just gotta upload stuff and just let you guys consume it and see what you think. And if you like it, you like it. And if you don't, you don't, and just kind of move on. You know what I'm saying? So I hope you guys have a fantastic day, night, wherever you're watching this. And I hope to see you guys during the live streams Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're getting started super early in the morning these days. So hope to see you guys pop in there. And thanks again for subscribing to the YouTube channel, guys. I really appreciate all your support.